Welcome to the podcast, Claim Your Excellent Life, with your host, Suzanne Kellner-Zinck, where she helps professional women learn how to be happy. Suzanne will teach you how to do this through building high self-esteem, relaxation and calm, and good, healthy relationships. Tune in every week as Suzanne shares effective strategies to help you claim your excellent life with happiness techniques, self-esteem building exercises, relationship tips, and relaxation information. Make sure to head over to dawningvisions.com to subscribe to the newsletter to receive your keys to happiness, as well as other useful free gifts for you.
In this episode of Claim Your Excellent Life, we are going to talk about expectations. Expectations. Our own expectations of ourselves, and how it relates to our expectations of others. I answer a lot of questions on Quora, which is a forum for people to ask questions and others to answer. And this question has come up a couple of times, actually. And I just found this morning that I answered it two different ways, because I answered it a few months ago, I guess, when it was asked in a slightly different manner. But the thing that I want to actually relate to you is that we really can't know how our lives are going to turn out, what is going to come up as challenges for ourselves or for those that are in our lives. And there was another question on Quora that I really liked, because it was asking if you are inspired by the face that you see in the mirror. A lot of people answered that question by just talking about their physical selves. They weren't asking if a person liked what they physically looked like. They were asking if you were inspired. And my answer is yes. Because though a lot of those things that I've worked on through the years haven't worked out that well, there are so many people who I have inspired and helped to turn their lives around when they had gone through such horrific situations that would be outside the scope of most people's imaginations. That's how bad some of these folks had it. And yet they turned it all around. And I helped to facilitate it. And that's something I am very, very inspired by. Especially when I get the feedback years later that that's what happened. But there's another idea about expectations, about thinking that one has to be perfect, that things never go wrong in one's life. And we all know this isn't true, because there's goals that we look to reach. I had a wonderful concept that I wanted to do to help kids clear themselves of cancer, and yet I couldn't do it. And it wasn't because I didn't want to, it's just because, quite frankly, I lost my housing and had to leave and needed to be able to concentrate on my master's program work. And just trying to stay afloat in this kind of crazy situation has been more than enough to create some issues. It's just like we can only do so much that we can do. And I can tell you this, after I put a full day in of researching and writing and doing my work, the next day I'm exhausted. That's just the way it is at this stage in life. But the grades are good. And I'm really happy about my grades, because I work really, really hard on my classwork. Even in those times when I have no understanding of what the teacher may be asking us to do in the assignment, somehow I go back, I reread it, I frame it, and somehow it usually works out. So, there's things that we have control over, and there's things that don't. And the situation with the housing, it wasn't really the best place for me to be. But I was able to help somebody who had done some pretty amazing things for me in the past. I thought about it in terms of a give back, really. But unfortunately, he was unable to care enough about himself to follow through and do what he needed to do, and ended up back in the hospital again. And then in rehab. And there's nothing that anyone can do about it but him. That's a fact. And toward the end, it was really toxic. And it wasn't a healthy place for me to be. And it was a lot of work. And the work wasn't really being respected because this gentleman wasn't able to respect himself. And that's what I mean by expectations of others. Because the only person who we have a right to have expectations of is truly ourselves. But even with that, sometimes the goals are too lofty. Sometimes the timing isn't right. Other things get in the way of our plans. And we just very much don't know what's going to come to pass. All we can do is go with the role of life and do the best we can to create other things for ourselves to work on. But that doesn't mean we have a right to expect other people to live up to our expectations, because we don't. Hell, if we can't even live up to our own sometimes, who are we to ask someone else to live up to what we think they should be doing for themselves? This is incredibly important when it comes to friendships where you feel your friend doesn't understand you. That's a matter of having a conversation and clearing the air. Or family situations where things get twisted beyond all belief with triggers and other things from our past. And I would say those are probably the hardest conversations to have. But they're important conversations to have nonetheless. To clear the air and move on. Because the worst expectation that one can have is that someone may be angry with you, or you might be angry with them, and you find out it has nothing to do with any of that. So, give yourself a break. Give yourself time to reflect. Give yourself time and space to make the amends and have those hard conversations. And by all means, allow your children to be who they are and to become what they are. With your love, unconditional, and your guidance. Because that's another area that I see a lot of expectations that have nothing to do with reality. If you have a kid who has some major emotional issues or behavioral issues, yes, do your best by them to help them, to overcome them. But please help them to aspire to be the best that they can be by giving them things that they can enjoy doing and allow them to enjoy those things they enjoy doing. Please never take those things away from them thinking that you know better, because I can tell you, from 35 years in mental health, 17 years in hypnosis, it ain't gonna work. Everyone has a right to be who they are, to the best that they're able to make that happen. And it doesn't mean that challenges aren't gonna have to be overcome. It doesn't mean that there aren't gonna be times of misunderstanding. But what it does mean is that we have to have the heart and the soul to match another's heart and soul and do the best that we can. And if by some reason they're unable to come through, as was the case with a gentleman that you know what? His choices are his choices. And that's all there is to it. Extricate the self from the situation and move on. That's all one can do. thank you once again for listening to the podcast and spending your time with me. Till next time. If you have enjoyed Claim Your Excellent Life, we'd really appreciate it if you go over to iTunes and give it a 5-star review. If you have found Claim Your Excellent Life to be helpful to you, and maybe even life-altering with the information that we have shared here, and to allow us to continue this work, which we really do enjoy doing for you, you can sponsor us at patreon.com. That's spelled P as in Paul, ATREON as in Nancy.com. Again, that's P as in Paul, AT as in Tom, REON as in Nancy.com, where there's a few different levels of sponsorship that you can choose from to help us to continue doing this work. We thank you for any assistance that you are able to give us.
Thank you for listening to the podcast, Claim Your Excellent Life, with your host, Suzanne Kellner-Zinck, where she helps professional women learn how to be happy. Suzanne teaches you how to do this through building high self-esteem, relaxation and calm, and good, healthy relationships. Tune in every week as Suzanne shares effective strategies to help you claim your excellent life with happiness techniques, self-esteem building exercises, relationship tips, and relaxation information. Make sure to head over to dawningvisions.com to subscribe to the newsletter to receive your keys to happiness, as well as other useful free gifts for you.